So how's it going out there, everybody? We're sitting in the backyard today, and it's Sunday, and it's church day, so I figured I would turn on my stream. I did this just now for about 5 minutes, and and I was like, oh no, nobody's coming in to my stream. Maybe it's the whole fact that I put Jesus in the title, and then I realized that the reason no one was coming in was because I was messing around with my settings, and I had it on unlisted, so nobody knew that it existed. So now some people can see that it exists. It is Sunday. It is the Lord's Day. I went to church this morning, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be disappointed that I'm not traversing you know, the whole Las Vegas Strip again. I mean, this is the day. This is the day. This is the day to do it. I mean, right now, what is it? 62. It's going to be a high of 70 today. But I just want to spend some time at home. I want to kind of, I don't know, close my mind off. I do need a mic check from you guys because I am using this, but I am using it on my phone, so I'm not really sure. This is all being done with my iPhone, so I'm not really sure what the audio quality is like. And if you guys can tell me what the audio quality is like, that would be good. We have our iPad here. So if we can get a sufficient levels on the audio quality, that would be good. We have the iPad here. I did this is when I go to church, we did notes. You know, I do notes here. This is church from today, the book of Judges. This was really interesting. So I'm here to talk about questions you guys might have for me about that stuff if you've ever been curious. And yeah, I can't turn up the voice volume. So I guess we're gonna switch to microphone number 2, which will be the little anchor work piece here. Let's see how this sounds. And this might be the one. This might be the droids that we're looking for. If it seems low, I was kind of worried about that, but give me one moment here. We'll unplug it, and that's probably fine, but then we will replug it this way. We will see how it sounds. It's probably better, and I can actually turn the boost up. Boost up the juice. How's that for you guys? Is that a bit better? I imagine it is. Noise reduction is off. Good. All right, good. Perfect now. So I don't know what I was looking to accomplish on this stream. Just a little bit about me, I guess. You guys may not know. I was born and raised in a family that didn't go to church. We never went to church. I don't know. We said prayers occasionally, but it wasn't like a thing in our household. We never observed God or worshiped God or anything like that. Of course, we did all the big holidays, right? You do the CEO holidays. You know what the CEOs of the church are? Those are the Christmas and Easter only. So we were CEOs, but we never even went to church on those days. But we'd still celebrate Christmas because everybody does, because it's secular nowadays. And we'd still do Easter and chocolate and all that kind of stuff. Cadbury mini eggs are the best things in the world, just so you know. And I grew up thinking I was smarter than everything. Of course, you know, grew up in the atheist's mindset. By the way, this furniture I'm sitting on right now, we bought this on Facebook Marketplace from a guy who drove it across town to deliver it to us for $100. And I painted it. I stripped all of it down, painted it this blue color because that's what Caroline wanted. And I could easily sell this for $500. It's beautiful. But I was always like smarter than everybody else. I was a smart kid growing up. It's actually a curse to be a smart kid growing up. When you're a smart kid growing up, you don't have to do anything except for be smart. And then eventually there's only a certain level of smartness you have. So I was smart as a kid. I don't know that I'm smart right now. But being smart as a kid is one thing. And then when that runs out, your life turns into total hell. You hate your life because you don't have any social skills and you're socially stunted and you have all sorts of issues. Let me see how this sounds on my... That sounds great. Wow. By the way, how do you like the orange tree behind me? I did join a gym today. Went back to EOS Fitness, which is this big commercial gym. Why did I do commercial gym? Because it's $10 a month if I just want one location. I don't have to go with every location in town. I don't need the swimming pool. I don't want your massage chairs. And I never plan on bringing a guest. So I'm back in the gym as of tonight. It's going to allow me more flexibility in my eating. But let's talk about the God stuff again. We'll get back to it. so you guys can have a better understanding, because some of you guys are going to watch me on my streams and you'll hear me talk about God and you wonder, why is he going on about this stuff? It's very important to me. It's a very important thing to me to be able to speak freely about my beliefs, and the thing that has, how do you like those chairs? These chairs are great. They go back, forth, they sway a little bit. I'm afraid of breaking it, but I don't think I will. It's important for me to be myself on my stream. And when I first started going to church and I became a Christian, I was afraid to say anything about it because I was worried that I would scare people away. But at this point, I don't care that I would scare people away. At this point, I have to be reminded about my journey to get here, because at one point I was day drinking and doing all the wrong things, and I needed some kind of obvious help. And I had my friend Josh, who I sat next to in church today. He's been my friend for a while. And he just kept saying, well, you just need a little Jesus, buddy. You just need Jesus in your life. And unbeknownst to me, my father, who's always been a worshiper of Jesus, although what happens when you're, to not all people, but lots of people, what happens when you follow Jesus is some people, they go away and they come back, and they go away, they come back, which is kind of like in the Bible, they talk about the flocks, and Jesus is the shepherd, you know, he's keeping his flock. And ironically enough, in the Bible, in the story of the Nativity, they talk about how the first angels that told anybody about the birth of Jesus, they were the first people that learned about it were the lowly shepherds in the fields. What you have to understand is at that time, the shepherds were not very high up in the society. Like, they would walk around in sandals, sheep stuff, poop, and stuff like that. So the fact that they heard first was kind of symbolic for who the message was for. Anyways, my father went to church up in Calgary, and he hadn't been in a church in a while. And it was one of those things where they would say, like, hey, do you have any prayer requests for anybody? And he did. He prayed that God would talk to me. And it was about this time that I was going through all of these personal things. I had tried absolutely everything. I had tried, Wayne Dyer, manifesting, Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, and all those guys. They lend something to a person. But I had tried absolutely everything. And none of it worked, and eventually got into a situation that I just really couldn't get myself out of. And my wife was like, why don't you just go to that church that Mark goes to? Now, Mark's my publisher with My Vegas magazine. And I was like, fine, I'll try that, because I had run out of all options, you know. And I talked to my friend Josh, and he gave me a simple prayer to pray when I was ready to do it. And I'd asked God for some kind of sign that he was looking out for me. I said, just give me something to show me that maybe you do exist. Just give me something. This was many, many years ago. And I was working in timeshare, and I was jerking in timeshare. I wasn't making a lot of money, and it was rough. Mainly the problem was in me, which is fine. And I remember, so I was in front of that little plot of land, that little walking strip from Caesar's Palace, where directly across the street you have like the Flamingo, so there's nothing there. And it was, I don't know, it was very, very hot. And I went inside. This was the first time I ever encountered a sign that God existed. And I went inside to the food court, and this was years ago. And I asked the lady, I was like, how much for a soda or water? And she's like, oh, it's like $4.50. I said, do you have any locals discount? Haha. And she's like, oh, you're a local? I was like, yeah, I work timeshare. She goes, honey, just take it. I won't tell anybody. Well, there's a sign, right? But I still didn't believe back then. But like I said, then my life got to a really bad spot. And whoa, Robert sent me $25. I didn't expect a single donation. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it, brother. Robert, did you catch my stream last night? I thought it was a quality stream on the strip. If you guys are watching this and you're like, why is he streaming from his backyard and talking about God? Just go back one day. I did a 2-hour stream last night from MGM, and you probably enjoy that if this isn't your cup of tea, but maybe you're supposed to watch this. I don't know. Anyway, what pushed me to God was the COVID-19 crisis, you know? And here's why, because I was at a low point, like a really, really low point. By now, I'd already been on YouTube. I'd had the channel. Many of you guys might have even seen me by then. And but I was screwing everything up, man. Everything was going wrong, and there's still things in my testimony. This is called testimony right now that I'm doing. There's still things in my testimony that I won't say on camera for protecting people and stuff that are important to me. But when I finally did sit in that church parking lot at the Crossings, which is over on Windmill and Warm Spring. Windmill? I can't remember where it is. It's like Windmill and something. And I remember thinking, I know where it is. I just don't remember the cross streets. I remember thinking, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. I know better than this. Because I was like agnostic atheist, you know. I'm like, no, the Grand Canyon exists because of millions of years of erosion and droughts and, you know, dinosaur bones. Dinosaur bones. Science. It's all science. And the problem was, and this is how COVID-19 drove me to God. The problem was the science. That became the problem. You see, because even though I was like using the scientific evidence against God and to have no faith and be like atheist agnostic, the problem was they had been telling me since February of 2020 or March when they locked us all in our houses, and it had been well over a year. They had been telling me to trust the science and follow the science. And then they came out with a vaccine that didn't really work, but it was science. And then they changed the definition of vaccine on the CDC's website to back up their claims that the vaccine was doing what it was supposed to do. And then there was the science of staying 6 feet away from each other. And then there was the science of everybody wearing masks that they would just wear on their chins. And then there was the science of putting plexiglass up and making it hard to communicate. And then there was the science of everybody staying at home. And then there was the science. And it was like, I'm thinking to myself, science is keeping me away from God. How's that science working out for you? Campbell, how's that science there working out for you? Well, maybe if that science is wrong, then all of the science is wrong. And so I went into church and I had a moment and everything changed for me. And now here I am. So anyways, beating you over the head with science. It was all science. Yeah, everything is science. Don't you know? Don't you trust the science? Well, no. See, the thing is, you're not supposed to trust science. And that's one thing that is important to remember. Scientific method. I mean, like, how can we define the scientific method? Let me see if I can trick ChatGPT into this, because ChatGPT will be very biased, right? Can we get your opinion on Trump's tariffs and how Canada is countering back and what the effects will be? Sure. Well, 77% of all the imports of all the exports that Canada makes have to from Canada go to the United States. I don't know how many. Hold on. What's the percentage of exports from the United States to Canada out of 100% of all exported products? Let's figure this out. So it's searching the web. Let's see. See, this is where it's lopsided. Here's why Canada is completely effed in the A. So Canada, 77% of all the exports that leave Canada go to the United States. 77%. So if they made 100 products of 100 things, I think Canada, for example, they do ceramics, right? Ceramic products, and also nickel. Nickel is a thing that Canada exports. 77% out of 100,000 pounds, 77,000 pounds goes to the United States of all their goods. The United States exports 17.3% of all of their stuff goes to Canada. So yeah, okay, 25% tariff on things that are going from the United States into Canada on 17% of our total trade exports. That's not a lot. That's not a lot of goods that travel into Canada from the United States. So you're becoming way too political. No, Tony, I don't think so. I think I'm going to be myself. And we do a Vegas channel, and whether or not we like to admit it, politics and religion and culture, they permeate every single part of our life, Tony. For example, Tony, let's give you an idea of this, right? What are the consequences going to be in Vegas? Let's say, Tony, you come here in 6 months. Let's say you come here in 6 months, and there's been 6 months of tariffs between Canada and Mexico. Mexico's been importing fruits and vegetables, and you go to the buffet, and there is no buffet. I said, what do you mean there is no buffet? Yeah, the buffet closed. It paused. Why? Well, because all the lettuce and all the garbanzo beans and everything and all the salads cost 25% more, so they paused the buffet. See, it infects every single part of our life. We can talk about anything on this stream. We're just not going to talk very much about Vegas, but I was just using that for one example. Monday's stream was great in front of the Bellagio. It was the best it looked in a long time. That's another thing too. Politics, religion, culture affects every part of our lives. So if in 6 months Vegas becomes more expensive, I'll be decried for not talking about it. Tariffs are merely a negotiating tool Canada and Mexico can do to assist in protecting the borders. They could have sat down. I mean, look, Donald Trump said it on day one. I remember I was sitting in front of my computer, which reminds me, 2:30, I got a hard stop. I got to go trade the markets because I suspect I will be shorting something at 3 p.m. But, you know, January 20th, Trump is signing executive orders and he talks about tariffs. Market drops. You had time. You had time. You know, Trudeau went down to Mar-a-Lago, kissed Trump's ring, and he could have said something. So COVID led me to God. Can you share about what led you to being saved? I started talking to God and I started admitting I didn't know anything and I couldn't do stuff on my own. But the more I started learning about the Bible, the more it was, so I nerd out on stuff, right? I nerd out on stuff. Like the other day I was telling you the story of Lazarus. Lazarus, the rich man that wouldn't stop for the king that wouldn't stop for Lazarus. Lazarus was the poor man. And the Bible runs in cycles and circles. And the more I started going into the cycles and circles and how cyclical the Bible was between the Old Testament and the prophets in the New Testament, the less and less I could disprove it. The less and less I could disprove it. I couldn't. It was like, well, no, this is truth. This is truth. Like, it's so truth. I mean, there's things that were written 1,000 years before Jesus of Nazareth even existed that said that Jesus was the Messiah. It really is, and I could find them and I don't know scripture. Like some of these Christians out there they're great. They know their scriptures so well. I don't know the scripture as well, but give me examples from the Old Testament that predicted the Jesus Messiah theory. I'll say theory. ChatGPT. So listen to this. It's going to give me some. Shut up, Siri, on that other iPhone. Oh yeah, sorry. Give me the dates approximately when these things were written or said. So this is an example of that, okay? So it's going to give me a list right now. I'm going to read you a list. So when people say this whole thing is, you know, so prophecy from Isaiah, written between 740 and 700 BC. It says, the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son and call him Emmanuel. That was 740 to 700 years before the virgin conception. Then in David, Jeremiah says, King David was in succession to Jesus. Jesus and King David are related in bloodline. Jeremiah says, the days are coming, declares the Lord, and I'll raise up for David a righteous branch, a king who will reign wisely and do what is just and right. This was 626 years before the birth of Jesus. In Micah it says, but you, Bethlehem, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me the one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from old and from ancient times. That's from Micah, the book of Micah, 750 years before Jesus' birth. It says that Bethlehem will be the birthplace. There's a lot more. I mean, I could go over and over it. And the more that you do it, there's a book called I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. That's a really good book you can get. It's a little bit of a read. It's like several hours. If you get it on audiobook, you're going to have a 13-hour trip. But it talks about how you need more faith to be an atheist than you do a Christian if you actually look into the whole thing. Stephen, your higher self is always there, guiding your lower self from embracing all the evilness that humanity has to offer. Well, that's an interesting thought on it. That's cool. I like it. And see, like, look, man, if I lose some people on this stream, that's okay. I'm talking about something that maybe, here's the deal. Is it worth it to me to lose 10 subscribers on this stream talking about this if I had one person that watches me that starts to look into this on their own, and maybe it takes them a day, a year, a month, or a decade, or 4 decades. Maybe there's something here that I say to somebody where they go, I should look into that, and it kicks off a journey. I don't know where that journey ends, like you don't know, but maybe that's the reason that I had this idea when I was in church today. And if you've never been to a church service, I don't go to a Catholic church, so it's very contemporary and it's a lot of fun and loving and stuff like that. But they have a thing where you pray after the worship team, which is the worship team is like the musical band. They play some songs and then we pray. And then this popped into my head. I should do a Sundays and I should talk about God and non-Vegas stuff. What's up, Alex? How you doing, brother? So you guys can ask me questions, by the way, and these streams go a lot better if you ask me questions on stuff. But you were asking me about the tariffs, and the tariffs could directly 100% affect Vegas in a big way. It's going to see how long it takes, because the thing is, Canada's going to have a federal election, and so if you want to talk about a lame duck, Justin Trudeau is out of office within 80 days to 6 months. Right now at Target, Sherman Ultra Soft is 24-pack going for 40, and Bounty 12-packs are for 34. No, I mean, is that what they cost? I don't know. What's it cost here? I mean, you guys know that I can tell you stuff, right? Like, I have the internet too. Let's see what they're worth. Target.com. We'll just look it up. Charmin. Don't squeeze the Charmin, dude. Charmin. Let's see what Charmin's worth in the Las Vegas areas here. Charmin is ultra strong paper. Okay, let's see what this goes for. So if we want to get a 24-pack, yeah, it's $30. What's Walmart selling for? That's interesting. I don't know, man. Is the Charmin made in Canada or the United States? Yeah, I mean, so because Targeted, but here's another thing too, which you got to remember with this stuff too, is that oftentimes these websites, they run marketplaces, so you don't know who you're buying from. But yeah, it looks like that's the actual price at Summerlin South. It's $40. But what's Walmart's price, Charmin, let me see. I can just type in Charmin Ultra Mega Rolls. Let's see what it's worth. Go to Google Shopping here. $26.48 at Walmart near my house. $32 at Walmart near my house. So that's called capitalism, baby. That's called capitalism. But are things going to cost more? Sure, maybe for a brief period. But what will happen here is that Canada's economy will get just battered and barraged. And so if you guys don't know this, right, what'll eventually happen is that investors will pull their money out of Canada. Investors will buy Canadian dollars, and they'll store money in Canada. They'll keep money in U.S. dollars, but they will stop holding Canadian dollars. And I don't know exactly how it works, but what will happen is the investors that hold CAD, Canadian dollars, they'll start to dump their Canadian dollars, and that'll flood the market with CAD, Canadian dollars. And they'll do this when companies decide that they don't want to necessarily have to do business in Canada anymore. So for example, like say McCain. McCain is a huge company. It's a Canadian company. They've been around for over 100 years, I believe. And they do potatoes. Okay, they make potatoes for lots. I think they actually own Ore-Ida. If you're in the States, you see Ore-Ida. I think that's owned by a Canadian company. Now, they might grow and manufacture and process those potatoes in Canada. But if push came to shove, they could just open a facility in northern Nevada or in Idaho where the potato growing conditions are also pristine, and they could dump $100 million into production and hire a bunch of Americans and bypass the tariffs. You follow me now, right? So then their products are exactly the same. And then that would take people who are holding Canadian dollars in the market and have them dump their dollars, which would crater and crash the Canadian market beyond all reproach. It would be very, 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 very bad for Canada. You guys can feel free to ask me a question if you want to. Let me see what we have going on here. Right now, Target, okay, stick to Vegas news. You aren't good at religious stuff. Hey, Gary, God bless you. Thank you so much. What do you want me to talk about, Gary? You didn't lend anything to the conversation, you see. You just said, stick to Vegas news. You're not good at religious stuff. I gave my testimony, Gary, so I guess it's subjective whether or not I'm good at religious stuff. But I'd like to talk about it, and it might not be the stream for you, Gary. You can go somewhere else and watch something else. Sure, there's something going on with you. Let's see what Gary's all about. Charmin. I mean, you have a pretty cool Titanic collection, Gary. And you have a nice looking dog, buddy. I'll tell you that much. That was 13 years ago. Is the dog still around, Gary? How old do dogs live? What's up, Mike Alexander? So yeah, so that's a little bit about my testimony. I thought we might have people asking about it. Today we were talking about Judges, and Judges is this very interesting book of the Bible. And Judges talks about how back in the day we had people in what became the Promised Land that the Jews know as Israel today. And this was the land that they were promised after they were released from Egypt and traveled around for 40 years. And when they arrive there, God basically tells them, yep, you got it, but you're going to have to fight for it. So I brought you to the Promised Land. Now you're going to have to fight for it. And there were several different people in this region that the Jews were promised. You had kings, which were literally butchers and tyrants. There was one king named Adoni-Bezek, and he was horrible. They would brutalize the people in these areas. He admitted, quote, I had once had 70 kings with their thumbs and big toes cut off, eating scraps from under my table. They had to fight against him. There was the gods in this area. There was the gods like Baal, Ishtar, Molech, and the people in these areas were worshiping these pagan gods. I'm trying better for you, Gary, if you're still watching. For example, Baal was the god of crops and of agriculture. And I mean, this is going to get very not safe for YouTube, but people would sacrifice blood sacrifices to the god of agriculture in the area, these pagans. And it was child sacrifice. So they would murder children in order to feed the gods of agriculture. There was Molech. Molech was another sacrifice that was made for children. And you know what? I have to look that one up because I'm not sure what the sacrifice was made for. There was Ishtar, which was also known as Isis, and the god Isis in Egypt. This was fertility. So they had these forests set up with these giant trees, and they would go and have like big giant ORG blank S's in the name of fertility with random strangers, and then you would mate with your mate. And they would conduct mutilation of the private bits and things like this back in the day. And these how the people were living back in the times. And now here comes the people that are living in these circumstances, and they're living under some of the most brutal dictators and kings who are just basically controlling them with the idea of worshiping multiple gods. And then the Jews show up, and God sends in the judges, and the judges were just regular everyday people that had all sorts of flaws, and they had to fight against these people. And we haven't gotten to it yet, but there's a part in the book of Judges that our pastor teased about how at one point an army of 300 took out an army of over 150,000 people. And these were what the Jews had to fight for back in the day to try to claim their land back. But it was 1400 BC, the slaves were let go in 1440. So they get there in 1400 BC. And by this time, they had been through wandering the desert. They got the commandments, their arrival in Canaan, and they don't have full control of the area, and they had to fight. And the whole point of this in the book of Judges that I got out of it today was like this. And you know what you say it sounds like today, right? Well, isn't that interesting? Because I actually had that written down today. I literally had that written down. I said, whoa, have we come full circle in society? There it is. I wrote that down today. So here's the first takeaway that I had from it, right? First of all, number one, we're living in much the same times. We're living in much the same times where we have to fight constantly for what we believe in. And we have to fight to defend our beliefs because there's always somebody who's trying to suppress you. And thank God in the United States of America that we're not living under the same kind of brutal suppression where you have the government cutting off your toes and your thumbs and making you suckle sups of scraps from under the table. But we still live in that type. But here's the thing, we have to fight. That was the first thing. And God will always tell you, here you go, I'm going to give you everything, go fight for it. Go fight for what's right. And it was talking about how things in the Bible also get taken out of context. Because what was interesting was that after the death of Joshua, the Israelites asked the Lord which tribe should go first to attack the Canaanites to get their land. The Lord answered, Judah, for I have given them victory over the land. When the men of Judah attacked, the Lord gave them victory over the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and they killed 10,000 enemy warriors at the town of Bezek. While at Bezek, they defeated Adoni-Bezek escaped, but the Israelites soon captured him and cut off his thumbs and his big toes. Now, what's interesting about this is if you read this out of context, it doesn't make any sense. You're saying, wait a minute, the Jews showed up in Canaan and they cut off his thumbs and his toes of the king? What a brutal religion Christianity is. And then Adoni-Bezek said, I once had 70 kings with their thumbs and big toes cut off, eating scraps from under my table. Now God has paid me back for what I did to them. I mean, it's weird. It's circular. Number two is God doesn't always let us know why things are happening to us in that moment. And that's something that I need to keep in mind because, you know, we don't always have the full picture, but it's always happening for a good reason. Hey, dog. What's up, dog one? How you doing, brother? Nice to see you, man. Dog one, how's your day going? This is the time where dog one tries to reply and realizes that he's been banned off my chat. Anyways. Yeah, we have to push and fight back, and the expectation, the second one, is that you're going to repeatedly fail in life, right? And you're going to repeatedly fail over and over, but it's okay to fail over and over as long as you have that faith amongst you. And that's something that I got out of that today. We have to have faith in what we're doing. I lived my whole life for a very long time trying something, failing, trying a new thing, failing, never getting anywhere ahead in my life. And now I go into everything in a different fashion. I try to break down where I failed and improve and move on from it and have faith that, you know, God doesn't want me to fail. My family doesn't want me to fail. This person who urged me to do this doesn't want me to fail. But that's difficult sometimes. That may be hard for you guys. And they were eventually told why they were failing. I said, because you didn't do what I told you to. That's what God tells them. And then it was talking about a cycle. It was talking about how people sin or make mistakes. They face oppression for their outcomes. They have repentance. They then have a deliverance to where they want to be. And then they have some level of peace. But then we have ultimately sin again and break the cycle and start the cycle up again. And then we face oppression or hardship. And then we have repentance to try to get us back. And it's a funny cycle because it talks about it. It's right here. It's this cycle that you can see here. Sin, which leads to oppression, which leads to repentance, which leads to a deliverance, which leads to peace. How many people do you know in your life that have that kind of a cycle set up in their life? How many people do you know in your life? Maybe you have somebody who's in a relationship and they might be the aggressor, they might be the bad one. And so you could replace sin in that case with, bad act. You know, maybe you got a girlfriend if you're a gal, or you got a sister, and they're in a relationship with somebody, and that person cheats on your sister or your loved one or your girlfriend, and they cheat. And then she gets really, really mad at him. And she says, that's it. I'm never doing this again with you. You're out of here. And then he asks, he says, I'm so sorry. It'll never happen again. I'll do anything to make it right. I'll keep it in my pants. And she lets him back in. And then there's peace. And then the exact same thing happens over and over again. We're going through this with a family situation in our life where family members that have been in and out of our life over and over again that set up this cycle where they do something incredibly mean-spirited, not nice, leads to pushing away, leads to them coming back, asking for this forgiveness, leads to a period of peace, leads to the same thing over and over again. You're either saved by grace or judged by the law and will fail. Peace comes by knowing Jesus is the Savior, not your good works. That is very true too. What did I go over? Oh, I have this. I keep trying to do the live stream thing where I use my finger here, but I don't have to do that. Let's see what Kim was saying. Lorena, Kim, as a Canadian, how do you feel about the tariffs? The tariffs are fine to me. I mean, here's the thing about Canada and the tariffs. I'm trying to think on a good example of this. I mean, let's say you're at your job, you know, and your employer asks you to do a thing, and it's a thing. Like they say, you need to clean up these TPS reports. Just to quote Office Space, we need to get those TPS reports fixed. And if you don't, you're going to have to come in and work on Saturdays, right? And then you push back. Instead of just realizing that you work for a giant corporation that doesn't really need you all that much, and that they can cancel you out if they want to, you decide that you're gonna push back. You're gonna say, oh yeah, well, you need to stock better coffee in the coffee room, or else I'm not gonna do these three things. And you find out real fast in that type of really big lopsided relationship that you're not as necessary to your company as you thought you were. So going back to Canada-USA trade relations, I was doing a little bit of study on this, and Patrick Bet-David had posted up on X from Valuetainment that 77% of every single thing that Canada takes to survive, to exports to the United States. So out of all of the products, out of 100,000 products that get exported on a single day, 77,000 of them are going to the United States of America. Some go to Europe, a few go to Mexico, I'm sure. Maybe some go to Asia. But 17.3% of all the products that the United States exports go to Canada, right? So let's just talk in terms of total business export, right? If we had 100% of all of the exporters in Canada who are doing business in Canada, paying Canadian taxes, employing Canadian people, 77% of those people are sending their products to the United States. Only 17% of all of the companies exporting in the United States are sending anything to Canada. So the Canadians are like, well, we just need to find new trade partners. Well, it doesn't work that easily. It doesn't work the way you think it works, because if you don't have demand for Canadian products in Europe, then they are not going to buy from you suddenly, unless you dramatically reduce your prices, which hurts your companies. So your market is the United States. You have but no choice but to send them to the United States. And when the products get here and they are marked up 25%, see, that's another thing that nobody's talking about, right? Nobody's talking about this. The fact is, it's going to be very, very, very rare for a product to not have an American counterpart in the marketplace in the United States, because we're a 10 times larger market. Okay. Kim wants me to stick to... Kim's been watching me for a long time. Kim wanted me to know my opinion. Now she doesn't want to know my opinion. But the genie's out of the bottle, so we're going to talk about it. Anyways. So it's going to be very, very rare to find an instance where a product is exported from Canada to the United States and it's not made in America whatsoever, period. Whoa, Dark Corner Garage? Heavens to Murgatroyd. How do we manage to get super chats talking about the most oddball topics? Thank you so much, bro. That is so nice of you. And we also had Robert send a cash app. That was pretty amazing, man. I didn't expect any of that stuff, so thank you guys. Appreciate you. It's just Sunday, man. What can I tell you? I felt like talking into a camera today. Canadian provinces are taking U.S. liquor off the shelves. It doesn't make any sense, man. See, Canadians, being that I'm Canadian, I can tell you right now, there's this very strange sense of Canadian nationalism. Now, of course, you have American nationalism, right? And that's fine. But here's what it is. The Canadians don't unite on almost anything. Are there any Canadians in the chat right now? Say yes if you're a Canadian in the chat. Can you do that for me, please? Say yes if you're a Canadian in the chat. I'd like to hear how many Canadians we have watching. Maybe it's 1 or 2, maybe it's 4 or 5, maybe it's 146 of you. You provide a variety of great content. Well, thank you so much, brother. So we got Saskapoo. Estebo is here. Cool. So we got the, I need to stop biting my fingers. It's gotten better, I will tell you that much. Canadians in the chat. How divided are Canadians? Very divided. Very divided typically. Okay. If you're a Habs fan, you're not rooting for the Maple Leafs unless they make the Stanley Cup. The only thing that unites Canadians is the Stanley Cup Finals. Because I'm pretty sure that everybody was an Edmonton Oilers fan for a brief few days last year before the Oilers blew it. I told my wife, I said, never, what did Barack Obama say about Joe? Never underestimate Joe's ability to F things up. I said never underestimate the Edmonton Oilers' ability to F things up. But here's the thing. Canadians are very divided. I remember back when there's a network in Canada called TSN, stands for the Sports Network. I remember when they started broadcasting, people complained, oh, it's more like the Toronto Sports Network. All they ever show is the Toronto Maple Leafs. And people are like, Toronto thinks it's the center of the universe, those a-holes in Toronto. So if you're in Western Canada, you feel slighted from Eastern Canada. And if you're in Quebec, you think everybody hates you. And if you're in Newfoundland, go Lord, Thunder, and Jesus, you don't have anybody on your side, do you? So Canadians are not united. This is a thing that they're uniting about. I'm so happy. My Canadian feedback is great, and there are a lot of Americans who are interested in your feedback and open discussion. Well then, let's change the subject, because we talked about Lord Jesus. Okay, now we're changing the topic. We're saying Sunday tariff chat. Oh, tariff chat. Oh my gosh, I can't spell tariff. Sunday tariff live chat. Man, there we go. All right, now we're tariff chat. Yeah, so anyways, this is a thing that's united Canadians for the first time in a million years. And usually, typically, though, the Canadian nationalism comes out of the Liberal Party of Canada. The Liberal Party and the NDPs and stuff like that. Generally, they're the ones back in the day. I think it was like Diefenbaker or something like that, one of the prime ministers. And then Trudeau took that mantle, not Justin Trudeau, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, which is Justin Trudeau's father. Well, it's really Fidel Castro, but don't tell anybody that. Originally from Detroit, Michigan, and you know I rooted for the Red Wings and the Lions and the Tigers and the Bears. Oh my! But you like the, what is this? Oh, I gotta stop touching my screen, dude. I'm getting germs all over it. What did you say? We got the chats right here on the tablet, don't you know? Thank you, Jersey T. That is awesome for you, brother. I appreciate you doing that. But I root for the Canadian teams like the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay. Blue Jays are hard to watch. It's a beautiful way to go. Take off to the great white north. Take off. It's a beauty way to be. So yeah, so the tariffs will most certainly affect Vegas in a certain, it's going to affect certain industries. So, for example, right, pardon me, right now in China, it's Chinese New Year. So what that means is that automotive manufacturers will buy up extra supply chain, right? So let's say you need a type of air filter and it comes from China. And you're like UAP Napa. Is that a thing where you're at? Is that still a thing? You're AutoZone. Everybody knows AutoZone. Napa Auto Parts. I think that's a Canadian and Mexican thing. I don't think there's Napa in the United States. But what you'll do is you'll know that Chinese New Year is coming up, and you'll know that there's going to be a reduction in manufacturing. So you'll buy a bunch of extra air filters for the most popular vehicles. Like, Toyota RAV4 has been taking the same air filter for the past 30 years. You're going to sell a bunch of those. So what I think is going to happen is the first things you'll see a result off of tariffs with will be most definitely food items, things that are expendable. No, things that don't have a long shelf life, things that expire. So things like lettuce, things that are grown in Mexico, and those things that have tariffs coming in, they're going to be 25% higher, and not so, unfortunately, many here would still rather call Donald Trump names and have no clue on the damage Justin has caused to the economy. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's another thing about Canada. It's highly partisan, highly partisan. How much more smoke? Let's just read your comments down here. Moosehead and Modelo beer are 25% more. Well, mostly Canadian, right? Labatt's, that kind of stuff. I met some Canadians in Vegas last April, and they said they were praying Trump would win. There's a lot of Canadian Trump supporters, actually. A few people that watches us. Taxes to the crap out of us, continues to tax the crap out of us. Let me see here. Many here would still rather call Donald Trump names. Buffalo Bisons are a farm team for the Jays, but a lifelong Yankees fan. How much more is smoke and back bacon? I don't know. Continues to tax and Tim Hortons. Okay, you guys ask me some questions if you guys want to, but it's most certainly going to cause the price of things to go up. In Vegas and everywhere across the board. It really will. But will it? And see, that's the thing. The Mexico stuff is more. The Mexico stuff. It's not. It's not Canada. See, it's not Canada that's the problem. It's Mexico that's the problem. And then, you know, and you're not going to like this if you're a Trump supporter, because I've told you, like, I'm not politically homeless, but I'm almost politically homeless, right? And if you don't know what that means, that's like where you just don't feel either party represents you all that well. But I'm going to tell you right now, the Canadian border is not some massive haven for fentanyl. It's really not. The problem is not there. But, you know, the problem is the trade deficit. And so Trump is putting these on to Canada so that he can come to the negotiating table. And Justin Trudeau wants to show his party is strong somehow. So he's going to push back and tariff the United States, which Trump said is going to result in higher tariffs for Canada. So if you're going to counter tariff, then Canada's going to tariff you 50%, 75%, 100%. I'm telling you right now, what do you think is going to happen? Your country is going to melt down. You are going to get to a point where there will be so many, 100% tariff, a 200% tariff. Trump can do that because, once again, not in Mexico's case, but in Canada's case, only 17.3% of all exported goods go to Canada from the United States. But 77% of all exported goods from Canada come to the United States, which means that Canadian companies, out of 100,000 Canadian companies that do export business, almost all of them are exclusively sending to America. This is going to crush them. So it's not good. And so all Justin Trudeau had to do was to go to Donald Trump and say, give me a bullet list and a time frame. Trump's a construction guy. And when you build big construction projects, you do it with a bank loan, right? And the bank says, okay, here's $100 million. It's July 1st. Okay, by September 1st, we want to see the foundation is poured. And if you're not poured the foundation by September 1st, there's going to be a fine and a penalty. And then by December 1st, we want to see some walls are built. And if you're not done by December 1st, there's going to be a penalty. This is how you do things. But instead of that, Justin Trudeau went to Mar-a-Lago, apparently hid his head in the sand because he was mired in controversy, said he was going to resign, and the Canadians went into disarray with their House of Commons and their Liberal Party of Canada, who didn't really do anything. And I didn't hear anything about ongoing negotiations and calls with Canada or Mexico. All I heard was Mexico and Canada peacocking and acting all tough. And that's ridiculous. Again, that's like if you worked for frickin'... that's like you working for Apple and they ask you, can you just punch in on time? And you say, screw you, I'm not going to punch in on time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do five less things every day until you give me a longer lunch break. And Apple just says, well, we don't really need you. You're gone. That's it. Whoa, our anonymous donor said, support the Sunday chat. No names, please. Enjoying last tariff-free day. So we're going to go to the Las Vegas Strip. And we're going to look at prices of stuff this week. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some live stream investigation live streams. We're going to see if the tariffs hit Vegas. And I'm going to film a video on this separate from this right now, later on today. You know, and I'm going to get this out because this is hot in the news. And I might be one of the only channels that talks about it, you know. Prophecy, we did talk about the God stuff. Absolutely, we did. It was the first half of this stream. So if you want to rewind and go listen to the first half of this stream, I actually gave my testimony and I talked about all that kind of stuff and I talked about everything. But here's the thing. This whole focus right now is this stuff right here. So I did change the title of my stream. I did change it. So if new viewers come in, it says Sunday Tariff Chat. But at first it said Sunday Jesus and Non-Vegas Chat. That's where you are. So that's what it is. So apologize for the ambiguity. We're going to do some church talk every Sunday from the backyard until it gets intolerable and I can't be in the backyard. But check this out. Oh man, it's loud. So yeah, we got our tree back here. And I actually do have to pick lemons for somebody, from my friend Josh at church today. I told him I'd bring him lemons. So we got lemons off of this tree. They almost look like oranges, but they're really not. They're lemons. And this tree only bears lemons Oh, it smells so good. Mmm. I might get some stevia. I forgot to buy some from the store today. I might make lemonade tonight, and that might be really good. I should have when I made my keto ice cream yesterday. I really should have. I should have juiced some lemons and put some lemon in there. I put some vanilla in there, but I didn't have enough vanilla extract, and I also put some stevia in there, but I didn't put enough stevia. I love Saskatchewan too. Go Rough Riders, man. There you go. Yeah. So it's nice people in Saskatchewan. Even though you're all Edmonton Oilers fans, I still forgive you. Jesus loves my Las Vegas Strip drinking. I'm a party animal, and that's my vice. As long as you don't do it till where you're belligerent, dude. There's no problem with drinking. I mean, heck, back in the biblical days, they drank alcohol more than they drank anything. Yeah, the lemon trees are hard to grow, man. They take a lot of TLC, a lot of care, and they need the perfect amount of sun. And I haven't picked enough lemons. I have, so we have relics. Let me grab this for you. Ah. So we actually, well, we have 99-cent store stuff. So what I'm going to end up doing is just taking one of these like milk crate type things, you know, and I'm going to end up probably just filling this whole thing up, because I told my buddy Josh yesterday or today when I saw him, somebody gave him grapefruits, and I'm like, what in the devil am I going to do with all of these lemons? The thing about lemon trees, which you may not know, is that it's actually hard to get them all. Lemon trees are like I don't think it's a cactus, obviously, right? It's not a cactus, but they have these sharp barbs on them, and you got to do something with all these. I was thinking, I'm not even joking with you, I was thinking of going to the Walmart parking lot and trying to sell bags of lemons, but I'm a wuss and I don't want to get no rain there, don't eat this. Why? These are great. We have water, comes under the ground, man. Of course we do. I pay the water bill. If you don't pay the water bill, they put a lien on your house or they turn your water off. You kind of need water in the desert. No, we let the water go. Yeah, these have really sharp barbs on them. So we actually went on Amazon and I bought a big giant pole that I had to put together. It had the worst instructions for anything I've ever seen done before, and I couldn't really understand it. From Lake Mead, I don't know where the water comes from. I lied to you. I do know where the water comes from. The water comes, let me grab my comments so you guys, I can see your comments. I can chat with you while I'm doing this work. Why do they look orange? They're yellow here. Yeah, I mean, there's different genus of lemon trees. You can buy dwarf lemons and you can buy big lemon trees and stuff like that. I just think this is the type of lemon tree that it is. Honestly, that one's too soft. Ugh, see? That's why I need to pick them and use them and give them to somebody, because they're turning soft and then they rot. But there's Myers lemons, if you've never had those. Go to like Trader Joe's. I don't know if Trader Joe's has good produce. I haven't been in a Trader Joe's in years. Go to, where do you go to? Sprouts maybe, Whole Foods possibly. Get a Myers lemon. And Myers lemon, you can drink it without sugar. It's got a very high sugar content. So yeah, these ones here are not bright yellow. I think that's a very particular type of commercial lemon that they sell out there. But you can grow lemons, pomegranates, you can grow all sorts of things in the desert. And it's, you got to pick them in a certain way. Another option, Steven, is to shake the heck out of that tree to drop the fruit. You could do that, I guess, right? I don't want to break it, or I don't want to bruise it. It's probably not going to be the thing I'm going to want to do here. I don't mind picking them. You know, I'm Ukrainian by birth, Ukrainian and Polish. And you may not know this, but the Ukraine, ow, geez, yeah, now I'm bleeding. The Ukraine is the kind of the bread basket of the Soviet Union back in the day. Actually, Russia genocided the Ukrainians back in like the 1950s, I think it was, maybe 1930s, I can't remember. They starved out the Ukrainians because they needed to save or to feed all the Russians. And it was actually quite horrible. Like, you know that whole Pulitzer Prize? Yeah, they gave it to a journalist in the first year that it was run. It was actually founded by a newspaper publisher so he could award his own journalists and make his newspaper more popular. And he went over to Russia, and he was wined and dined by the Soviet Union and the communists. And while he was there, he knew that there were millions of people starving to death in the Ukraine, resorting to cannibalism and horrible things. And he wrote the opposite. So that's how respectful the Pulitzer Prize is. That's a nice tree. Things grow good here in Las Vegas. I saw a wild pomegranate tree in Ashley Furniture parking lot. Yeah, we got olives, and we got olive trees that bear fruit. You're not supposed to have them, but some people still do. Let's see here. What do we got? Doing a great job, Steve. Very healthy looking. Thorns from that tree need to be trimmed back. Well, they're everywhere. I don't know how you trim them back. They're on the inside branches. OG Geezer says hi. He can come in my chats. He's not been banned or nothing. I would never ban him. That's a nice tree. Grow things good. Perfect for Corona beer. Yeah, so I mean, and that's just a little bit. Look at this here. This is just a little bit of the lemon situation right here. See? Just a little bit. So, lots of lemons there. Steve, start a cooking live stream with some lemon slices. I don't know what you'd use lemons for. I'm going to zest some of these tonight, maybe. Make some kind of lemonade. But if I don't do this, I'll never do it. So I might as well do it while I'm chatting with you guys. You can ask me questions. I can see you. I have my iPad here. Lemon with Moosehead beer. It's beautiful. Probably put, if you like Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, you put lemon in it. Tastes really good too. Let's see here. What's up there, Kyle? Lemon chicken? Sure. Lemon chicken. Why not? Yeah, we got a lot. And we have that contraption, and it's just got this little basket on the end. And the idea is that you push the basket up and you twist, and the lemons come out. It's a skill, and I'm not very good at it. So usually I just take a ladder. But since I'm the only person here right now, my wife's out of town, I don't really feel like taking a ladder and walking on a ladder unless I absolutely have to. Catch some fish from Lake Mead and grill it with a lemon. I visited my grandmother. I can look here. In the retirement community in Texas, peeled 2 lemons thinking they were oranges. Weird how different color was from the homegrown lemons versus commercial. I know. Why can't you have olive trees, Johnny V says. What a good question, bro. I'm glad that somebody's listening to my words. So when the big influx of people came to Vegas, back in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, we're talking like the mob era, you know, a lot of them came from the East Coast. And one of the harshest things about being in the desert is always going to be the lack of shade. And so a lot of them were like Italian Americans and stuff from the East and whatnot. So they would plant lemon trees and mulberry trees and lemon trees. They'll both grow really good out here as long as you give them sufficient water because it's always warm and always sunny. But the problem with olives, particularly, is that they will bear fruit, right? And the fruit has seeds. And the birds love to eat the fruit off the seeds. And then the birds fly away and they poop out the seeds. And then you have more more olive trees that are grown. And so olive trees that are sold out here are not fruit-bearing olive trees. And I don't know that you can actually buy a fruit-bearing olive tree in the city, like legally. I think they passed a bylaw that said you can't actually have fruit-bearing ones. The other one is mulberry trees. Mulberry trees are known to humans as one of the biggest spreaders of pollen, so it causes really bad allergies. And we already have, this one's all harvested. Look at that. I did that one. It's plucked bare, baby. So you have mulberry trees. Birds like to do the same thing with them, but they pollinate a ton. And if you don't have allergies and you come to Vegas, there's a good chance you're going to get allergies. Has anybody here moved here and found their allergies got worse? There's a whole bunch of health benefits to being out here. Like if you have rheumatoid arthritis, the humidity is generally never above 25% for more than a day or so. So that'll never bother you. Man, my fingers are all sorts of messed up now. Let's see here. You're full of useful information. Oh, thank you, Prophecy. I'll subscribe. Oh, it's your first time here. Cool. Hey, buddy, working away on a Sunday. What's up, Kevin? Cold cucumber and lemon juice. Yeah, the wife makes me cucumber, but she buys Japanese cucumbers, which are smaller, which are good. I could go back for cucumbers. That's good. Doing the keto versus the carnivore these days. $12 lemon loaf. Well, we could sell stuff on Marketplace, huh? But then I'd have to have people come to my house. All my family grow their own olives. The smell of them in the oven is heaven to us. We're Italians. Hey, how you doing? If too many, make lemon concentrate in glass jars and sell that maybe. You could. What did 7-Eleven Vegas retract? Oh man, I'll never know what you said. Maybe it was something bad and I don't want to know what it was. Keep asking questions, guys. I'll answer your questions. Lemoncello. Somebody said lemoncello, right? Wow, Commander Kane, thank you so much. $5 super chat. I did not expect that. So this is our device. It's supposed to retract. When you buy cheap garbage off of Amazon, it doesn't retract. It's just like 3D theater from Saturday Night Live. Would you like some lemons? So the idea here is that you twist, and I've never been able to be very good at this. Steven, are those lemons sweet or sour? It's a little confusing, I know, right? Where'd all the palm trees come from? Florida? California? Yeah, they come from somewhere else. See, you have to, I don't like this. It never works the way I want it to, darn it. You have to twist it. And if you don't twist, what ends up happening is that you tear the top of the lemon off, and that blows. And this is not working the way I want it to, so I'm not going to do it right now. Yeah, palm trees, I don't know where, I have to imagine they just grow like weeds in places like Florida and SoCal. Because there was people in California before us, but where did the palm trees from there come from? Let's see here. Yeah, thanks, Commander. I appreciate you, man. Everyone, do you realize that Campbell speaks ancient Latin? I certainly don't. I speak pig Latin, poorly. You have a way of calmly making a point. That's an art. I'm more likely to spew conspiracy theories. Oh, I can spew conspiracy theories quite lucidly and calmly as well. Steven, you replaced Trudeau for Prime Minister. No, sir. They come from palms. Da-da-da. Let me take this mic off. And this shirt. And I don't want to gross you out, so hold on. You see my pudginess. But I lost weight, at least, so that's good. Oh, I'm skinny. I'm a skinny bitch now. So, hi. Yep. Yep. Oh, man, I'm ripping my fingers up with this. So yeah, so you guys can ask me questions if you guys want. We can keep talking, or else I can go and do something else. What time is it right now? 1:56. We've got about a half an hour left that we're going to chat because I have to get on the charts on futures. I got to do day trading at 3 o'clock. Now, we're not going to force a trade. There may be a trade, there may not. But I suspect, so the futures market opens right at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every day, except for Saturday and Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon. So I suspect, though, that when Sunday 3 p.m. rolls around, like Doc Emmett Brown said, we're going to see some serious SHIT. I'm sub to your trading channel now here. Oh, cool. Well, I think what's going to happen is that at 3 p.m., oh, son of a biscuit. I think that's what's going to happen, is that at 3 p.m., the market's going to gap down severely. And it's either going to trend down for a few minutes, and I'll be able to enter with 2 lots on the NASDAQ and pass my training combines, or it's going to severely gap down and then recover. But I don't know. You can't have trading bias. Not leaving the backyard. So depends on what you trade, and but don't have bias today because you think it's going to go down. Then you look for it to go down, and then it doesn't go down, and you're thinking this is going to drop. But now that we have the trade war, I imagine it's going to be an opportunity if you're in futures, because you can get in and out of trades really quickly. So that'll be good. Do I like Chairman Jerome Powell? Not necessarily. No. But, you know, do I think he has our best interests in mind? No. I don't think he's a Trump guy. Trump appointed him, ironically enough, just so you guys know. The chairman of the Federal Reserve is appointed to a term, and he can't really be taken out of the term. So I don't know that he likes Trump. I think he's more concerned about tariffs increasing the interest rates than he is with reducing interest rates in interest of fiscal policy. So the fiscal policy is set by the feds, and the monetary policy is set by the government, I think is how it goes. You love my stock channel. You watch everything? I've never heard that before. That's pretty cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see here. What else do we got? A1 steak sauce, shoyu ketchup, Hawaiian chili peppers, and lemon are great dipping sauce for the grill. Oh, that sounds like a good recipe. That's cool. You guys can ask me questions and I'll give you answers. I can see I got my iPad up here so I can actually see your questions as I'm picking lemons and destroying my hands, by the way. These are the big ones down here. Wow, some of these are huge. Really impressed. Let me lower this camera a little bit for you guys too, so you guys can see me a bit better. I'm digging and I'm vibing on this stream. This is fun stuff, man. Never thought I would do something like this on camera, but I have a wireless mic, so why not? No one streams the lemon tree. No one streams this. Well, you know, it's not true. Mark the other me, I'm not saying he does a lemon tree, but he streams from home. You know, my house, look at how big this is huge. This is a big lemon, man. You got a bit of a harvest going on, dude. All right, I better stop picking them because I just realized something. And what I realized is that I need to have some for next week when I go and see Josh at church. I can't just, and you know what I should have done, but I wasn't thinking about it, is I have that Insta360 Pro Flow Pro. This is our lemons now, see? We got the entire thing almost full of lemons. So I'll have to find something to do with these tonight. Maybe I'll ask ChatGPT. Hold on. Let's ask it. I have a whole bunch of freshly picked lemons. Give me some kind of ketogenic dessert thing I can do with them. Let's see what it says. How old am I? I'm 44. 44 years old. 44. Why do you ask, brother? 25% tariffs on my lemons. Nobody sits in a chair quite like Mark. Oh, that's not nice. Keto lemon bars. 2 cups of almond flour. I don't want to buy almond flour. It's very expensive. That's it. Give me another one. Give me another one. Nah, shooting. Try another. It's from Mad Dog McCree. I'm from Detroit and I moved to Arizona and my allergies are worse. Yeah, you're going to get those. Good afternoon. Nice haircut. Looks great. What is the name of my trading channel? It's called Elite Trading Mindset. Elite Trading Mindset. Lemon cheesecake. 2 cups of almond flour. Come on, man. 32 ounces of cream cheese softened, 1.5 cups of powdered erythritol, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of lemon zest, 3/4 cup Greek yogurt or sour cream, 4 large eggs at room temperature. I could do that. I have lots. Calories 350, fat 32 grams, protein 5 grams, net carbs 5. That's pretty good. That's nice. I like that. Okay, that looks good to me. Mad Dog McCree. Yeah, that was the shooter game at the arcade. Nah, shooting. Try another. That's when you would be training in the very beginning of it. It was a laser disc game. If you kids don't remember laser discs, they were about the size of a full long playing record. They weren't digital. People thought they were digital because they were silver, but they weren't. They were actually analog, but they just didn't break down over time like a tape would. And because they were tracks and you could seek with a, it was a laser read, I think. I don't know. Let me see here. Let me ask it. Laser discs weren't digital, but they read with a laser, right? See, I'm lazy now. I just use this ChatGPT for everything, man. Tariffs go to the government. The U.S. will benefit towards the debt. Yeah, but the consumer ends up paying them. Laser discs were read using a laser similar to CDs and DVDs, but they primarily stored analog video signals. The video was encoded as an analog signal, while the audio could be either analog or digital. The combination allowed for high quality video playback. So a laser disc was big and it had a laser read, so you could read part of the disc and then quickly skip, from place to place on it like a DVD. But anyways, yeah, thank you. Tony posted up my trading channel. I found your trading channel and subscribed. Oh, cool. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I have a video in progress because there's this guy that made this video, and the video was called Trading Will Ruin Your Life or something like that. And I want to do a reaction video to that because I don't think he's completely on point with that. I think part of it is he's just trying to get clicks. I mean, but trading can mess you up, that's for sure. Yeah, but yeah, we talked about a little bit of everything today. Glad I got a stream in. Who's your pick for the Super Bowl? I don't have a dog in the fight, man, but I know more Eagles fans than Kansas City Chiefs fans, so we'll just root for them. Go fly, Eagle, fly. You guys want to see where my hypochondria comes from? I'll show you this. I mean, right, keep in mind, it's been winter the whole night, right? The whole year it's been winter. But see, I'm Ukrainian, and I have these all over me. You see all of the freckles I got? That's me, man. All the freckles and the scars. But look at all those freckles, man. My whole body is covered in them. Once there was this girl who... Look at all the freckles I got. It's crazy. And she took her shirt off. Anyways, tons of freckles. It's kind of weird, isn't it? So I see them and I pick at them and I don't like them and they bother me and they make me think that I'm dying or something like that. But I'm not dying because they're symmetrical and they're all over my body. Like they're all over. Look at all of those freckles on my arm. Is that not wild? Yeah. So, yeah. So I got freckles all over my body and it really bothers me and it makes me wonder. But you can't you got to figure they're not cancerous if they are just dominating my skin. They just are what they are. You have I have more lemons than a used car lot. That is funny. I love you guys. I'm going to get back. I got to go set up my trading charts and stuff like that. You guys are great. Flock we hear. Oh, there's some birds around here, yeah. There's people in the back. They're enjoying this 70-degree weather. We got 67 degrees. It should be 70 by the time 3 o'clock rolls around. I can't see the birds. I think they're up on the trees. I see them around the house sometimes, but I can't see them right now anywhere. But you guys are great. Love you guys. Yeah, freckles. And it's like, you look at your freckles and you wonder. But they're all the same size and they're all symmetrical and they're all little pinpricks. And I think they look worse because I don't have any suntan. Although I still have a farmer's tan, go figure. Okay, guys, like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.